Hey Hofstra fans, welcome to the WB Mason Coaches Report here on GoHofstra.com. My name is Kevin Dexter, joined alongside by the head coach of the Hofstra Field Hockey team, Kathy De Angelis. Coach, thanks so much for joining us.
Great being here.
Coach, first off, it's been 9 months or so since the end of last field hockey season. How have you enjoyed the summer? Are you ready to get going again?
It was busy, very busy, recruiting and a lot of trips, but we're ready and ready for the weekend.
And last season, injury-ravaged season for your team, ended up finishing not up to par with your standards, I'm assuming. But first off, just when you take a look back at last year, what would you think overall?
Well, obviously the injuries were a huge factor, and which led to us going into our bench where we didn't have a lot of experience, and it was in a very crucial time hitting the CAA. Basically, that's what happened, and we tried to fight through it and do the best we could. We got an opportunity to develop some of those younger players and players who didn't have experience, which is now benefiting us right now.
And 3 players who got injured last year, 3 key players for you. Amy Levy out for the entire season, Jenna Kovar and Chrissy Elaine both get hurt midway through the season. Just how are they doing in the beginning of this season coming back from those injuries?
Absolutely fantastic. They've come back stronger than they were 2 years ago, so that's great. Chrissy tore an ACL. She's playing as if it never happened. We can't see any change in her play, and she's faster than she ever was. Jenna had a hand injury that was season-ending and had to have immediate surgery, and we can't see any difference in her play. She's back much stronger as well. And Amy recovering from multiple injuries in a car accident, but she came into preseason strong as can be, and all 3 of them, it doesn't even look like they had any injuries at all. So we're really excited about their performance.
And taking a look at the team for this year, first going to start off with goalies. You have 3 goaltenders in net. Amanda Heidi coming back, the starter from last year, but also Meredith Gold and Caitlin DeToro. Seems like a big competition in camp. Just talk a little bit about that competition and how they're pushing each other.
Well, this year in particular, we now have 3 keepers who have gained, all have experience. Caitlin DeToro was the youngest of them and had limited action over the several years. Last year, she was able to get in several games, and as far as the spring season with Heidi, Amanda Heidi was another player who was injured, who had back surgery and was out all spring and from the season on. So she's just coming back as well. But Caitlin has now been given an opportunity to get a lot of minutes this spring. So looking at all 3 of them, they now have experience. Heidi obviously was our #1 goalkeeper last year, but Meredith Golden 2 years ago also became our #1 goalkeeper, and she's the one who gave us our win against Old Dominion. So we're really excited. All 3 of them we're very comfortable with, and we look to platoon all 3 of them early and see how it goes, and I think the competitiveness is fantastic.
And right in front of them, the back line, of course, we mentioned her before, Amy Levy coming back. But how much experience did it give the other players there, Cody Nyland, Carrie Cadu, going into their junior years because they didn't have Amy out there last year?
Sure. Well, anytime you're put in a position to lead, you either do it or you don't. And those players, Carrie Cadu and Cody Nyland, were forced in a position just as sophomores, and they had to lead. That was the only way, and they did a great job. And now having Amy back there only adds and gives us much more power in the backfield, and having a lot of leadership is certainly what we're looking to keep and also continue.
You also brought in a couple of players in the recruiting class on defense. How have you been impressed with them in case one of those other players does go down with an injury, unfortunately, and you're able to fill those players into that position?
Well, all our freshmen coming in are very, very talented. They are freshmen, though, and in experience, it's going to be very different once we get into competition. But they're doing great. We feel for sure that there's a few of them that are going to get some playing time early, and it'll just be a matter of time. Others will start to contend. So they're doing a great job.
Moving up, taking a little bit of a look at the midfield, you have Stephanie Coles, who played on defense last year, seems to be moving up into the midfield, but is able to be a versatile player there. And a ton of different players in this kind of new up-tempo style of offense that you're going to be playing, but both in the midfield and on the striker line. Just talk a little bit about that.
In the midfield, and Steph Coles, she does have the versatility to be on defense as well as on the attack. So she's sitting right into the position she was last year, and she's doing a great job. Ariel Williams, who emerged as our leading goal scorer with the loss of Chrissy Elaine and Jenna Kovar, was instrumental on our attack corner unit, and she's now given another year also much stronger than she was last year. She has great distributing skills, and she also can play in the defense. Now we've got Michaela Gallagher. We're looking for her to be our central midfielder. She is the most technically sound player on the team. She has great speed. She's come so fit into preseason camp, and the training sessions with her have for her, she's just getting better and better. But right now, she is we're looking for her to really anchor that midfield and take charge there. And she's been doing everything we've asked all preseason, so we're excited to see how she plays opener at UConn.
And Jenna Kovar, Chrissy Lane, of course, on the forward line. A couple of other players that have stuck out. Dara Rockman, a senior, got some playing time off the bench last year. Going to be seemingly a bigger role this year. Also, Janelle Boileau, a freshman, has looked outstanding thus far from what we've seen of her in training camp.
Right. Well, Jenna Kovar, being an All-American, she is our strongest attacker, and she's been since her freshman year. And she only continues to get more experience. And if we can keep her injury-free, we now have people who can stay with her. Chrissy Lane is back in the lineup. We've moved Jenna from the midfield to the striker line. We're expecting to keep her there. And with the speed that we have with Dara Rackman, Janelle Boileau, and Chrissy Jenna, I believe they're the fastest in the CA, if not in the country. And we just need to get them some experience and click it together, because I know they're going to be very strong and continue to get more dangerous as the season continues.
And how much has it helped having so many seniors and all these players coming back from injury to implement kind of moving more up-tempo and trying to play with more speed, having the seniors to help you put that in?
Well, the number one thing is leadership. And last year we had 17 freshmen and sophomores, and we then lost our core players, and those were experienced players, Amy, Chris, and Jenna, and it certainly hurt us. But it put those younger players, it gave them an opportunity to lead, like I said earlier, to lead right away. And now having this core senior group coming back, this group was with us when we were 2 years ago, when we took a team that had 10 freshmen to the CA championship, and we got in the top 4 2 years ago. So they have the experience, and it really is contagious to the younger guys, and it's going well. I mean, we're gelling fantastic right now, and we're really excited about the weekend.
And speaking of the leadership on this team, speaking to a couple of your players, they've talked a little bit about these families that you've kind of instituted with the seniors, juniors, sophomores, and freshmen kind of being together just to build chemistry off the field. Just talk a little bit about how that idea came about.
Well, we've done a number of team bonding exercises. In fact, today is going to be probably the best one so far, and we're doing a project adventure, which is 3 or 4 hours, so that we're real excited about that. But what we have on a coaching staff, we knew that we needed to go outside of what's X's and O's, and really try to create an atmosphere where our team is bonding, really bonding on and off the field. And anything we've done by trying to get them in particular groups, so they have certain people they have to look out for. This is their family, and little activities we've done. I think it's created a lot. It's created a lot of fun, different games we've played. So we're gonna continue that, and that's really what this team is needed. And I think if we can really bring our leadership together and really the bonding together, we're gonna have a great weekend.
Coach, of course, coming off of this disappointing season last year, picked a little bit low in the CA preseason polls. Do you see that as any sort of motivation?
Well, it's definitely a motivation. And as the only thing I told the team, listen, it's not where you start, it's where you finish. And for the past 7 years, we've been in the championship. So for us, it's motivating, and they don't know that we're all back, and they don't know the talent that we've brought in. And for us, it's just what's written on paper.
And speaking of the polls, you're currently among the teams other receiving votes in the top 20 poll, but also 12 teams on your schedule as we get to this weekend a little bit in the top 20. Just talk a little bit about the strength of schedule for this team and how that came about, that you wanted to schedule such a strong opponents this year.
Right. Well, I think it's very important if you want to contend in a very powerful conference like the CAA. You have to play that type of competition. And if you don't do that, you get shocked right away. And so what we've done, we've really tried to pick our schedule up. Obviously, starting with Connecticut, who's 4th on the poll. They're a team that potentially could be a Final Four team. And Stanford, who has had the last 5 or 6 years have been NCAA tournament bound. They're 20th in the poll right now. So for us, it's very important that we schedule as many top 20 teams as we can. I think the schedule overall is balanced great, where we have other teams that are not in the top 20, where we're going to get the opportunity to go on the attack and also use the experience that we have received in the bigger games, and see what we can do in some of the games some of the teams are not in the top 20. And it's a great schedule. We're home a lot. We're going on the road early, which I think is also great after being here for 2 weeks. It's nice to get on the road. But I think the scheduling is fantastic, and we're really excited about the challenge. And most importantly, we've got our players excited about Connecticut. And the one thing that has also been real for us is that they also very much respect Connecticut. And if we can go into the game Saturday with that respect for ourselves, it really becomes a team that plays best, and we're definitely ready.
You speak about Connecticut being a possible Final Four team, of course, number 4 in the country. What's the strategy for a team like yourselves, just to go out and play such a good team like UConn?
Well, for us, it's about developing every day and getting better. And there's only 2 weeks, so you have a fortnight to prepare for your first game, and they only have 2 weeks as well. So I think it's, number one, it's about being as prepared as you can be in early season, but trying different things on your outletting and your pressing, and really seeing where players are performing at their best, where your holes may be, where your strengths are. But for us, we feel very prepared for the weekend, and again, we're going to develop through this weekend, and we hope to take as much as we can into the following weekend and then on to the CAA games.
Of course, just 2 days before the games against UConn and Stanford, have you figured out what your starting lineup is going to be, or are you there's still some question marks who's going to fill in?
We have a few question marks. We've tried to solidify as much as we can. It's imperative that we give. We're prepared as much at the starting lineup and playing with that prior to Connecticut. If I don't do anything and we show up at Connecticut and we never even played this lineup before, then we're not going to be prepared. So we've given off a lot by solidifying in a few of the scrimmages an idea where the starting lineup will be. So it's fairly close to being solidified for Friday.
And then you of course have Stanford on Saturday. 3 more road games before you play your first home game. 4 of those though be coming before classes start. How do you think that's going to benefit the team, being a team bonding experience? They're not missing any classes, and you guys can go on the road and kind of bond a little bit.
Right. Well, it's great, and an opportunity to spend as much time as you can with the team where they don't have a focus with school, and we're getting them really, especially for the younger guys, this is their first time away from home. At least they have their teammates to help get through being away from home for the first time, and not put right into classes right away. So our focus can be with hockey and just being away from home for everyone. So I think it's great. We're really excited about that, and starting out this weekend.
Of course, UConn and Stanford this weekend, but just the whole season as a whole. Before we finish up the show here, Coach, if I had to ask you a question, put you on the spot a little bit, that Hofstra will win the CAA what do they have to do to win the CAA?
We need leadership, we need to be injury-free, and we need to keep the chemistry going all the way to the very end. And that's one thing that happened with us the last several years is when it gets there's marginal games right as you get into CAA, and every game is important. And if we can stay focused and know that each game it can dictate the entire season. So if we can stay on that line and believe that you have to compete to the very end of your season, we'll get there and we'll be there.
And thanks so much for the time, Coach, and good luck this weekend against UConn and Stanford.
Great, thank you.
And thank you for tuning in to the WB Mason Coaches Report here on GoHofstra.com.